Hello there, ladies, gentlemen, and unicorns. Welcome to another stream. Well, might as well be a scream of mine. It's a scream for help, and I'm so glad that you could all make it. It's what we call a Freudian misspeak. If you say something out loud that your subconscious is actually thinking. So yeah, I'm a screamer now. I'm a full-time screamer because Corona never ends. Well, with that wonderful words, I welcome you to this week's stream. As you all know, last week I couldn't make it because I was down in the dumps, metaphorically speaking, as well as quite literal, because I broke one of my drives here. This 10 terabyte drives, and can you hear this? Yeah, it sounds like a dog that's trying to get your attention. This is not good. I dropped this from about 1 meter, or what's it, almost 3 foot from onto the hard floor. So yeah, it's a goner. And I thought today I talk a little bit about my data retention and data showcasing. I showcase how I keep my data safe. So what's going on in the chat? Oh, even Joy Brink is here. Thank you so much for dropping by. It's nice that now you're one on my streams and not the other way around. By the way, shout out to Joy Brink. If you don't know her, she's professor at the Technical University in Graz, and she streams every Wednesday, I think. Was it Wednesday evening? A couple of hours earlier than I do. Her lectures on game development and game design. So this is something that I can wholeheartedly suggest and want you to check out if you can. So Doom DS is here, and Lady Mistleaf says sounds like a head crash. Yeah, my God, yeah, it didn't sound good. Friend of the show, Red Hermit, suggested that I could maybe put it into the freezer and then try it as well and see if I can still get it to work. And yeah, it didn't work. The other thing is, the good thing about this is, I mean, the bad thing was, of course, yeah, it's titled Archive 2020, and I dropped it literally as I was taking it out from my home server and into my desktop PC. At least this was the plan from there, from where I could do the backup. So yeah, on the way, just 3 steps across my home office, I stumbled on this bad chair here, and yeah, things cascaded, essentially escalated, so to speak. And with that sound, I wouldn't expect anything to work, says Frank. And yeah, I mean, I was really dumb, because what is one thing when you're pretty sure that you've bumped your drive or something when it wasn't in use. The one thing that you shouldn't be doing, and I'm very well aware of this, is try if it works by trying to plug it in and see how bad it is. So if you have some kind of a head crash or anything, then it will get worse. And why did I still do this? Why did I test it? I had this glimmer of hope. I thought maybe, I mean, I dropped it. It's a new drive. Of course, it can't be. There has to be some kind of safeguard in there. Yeah, so yeah, essentially I was very dumb, and this brings us wonderfully to what to expect today. So yeah, I've prepared this little, well, it's not a little presentation, it's just an overview, because I thought it might be interesting to any of you to know what I'm up to when I'm doing a stream, because most of the times it's rather free form, where I have this main topic. And yeah, today's main topic is data retention workflows. Essentially, at least I show you where I arrived at my backup solution, because I have a Dropbox. I have lots of video projects that eat many terabytes of space. So I will show you how I organize my backup. So maybe there is something in there for your own backing up solutions or data retention or anything. Because yeah, it took me literally decades to come to this kind of intricate system. And yeah, it really is a system. So, and like I said, I think maybe there is, even if you have 1 or 2 things for your own workflows in there, then I'm already happy. Next thing is, of course, 2021 is the year of the sea shanty, because 2021 has been going on for 2 weeks, and TikTok has been flooded with sea shanties, and I did a little NES take on the Wellerman. So yeah, maybe we will get to this. I mean, it's not very long and very interesting. And finally, of course, I thought let's have some very feel good time, because with Corona and everything, I think many of us struggle a bit in terms of motivation. And just, yeah, how long do we still have to carry on? And I just thought my 2 cents on it, and hopefully something that, yeah, motivates you a little bit. So yeah, this is the program for today. As always, when I say the word that starts with U and ends with Nicorn, we should all have a sip of water, because it's healthy and fun to stay hydrated. And now, again, I'm sorry for not taking care of the chat. So the reason my computer works fine after its tumble, I believe, is because it's SATA drives rather than IDE, says Lady Mistleaf, and I'm not quite in the loop there. SSD. Oh yeah, this makes more sense. Yeah, if you drop an SSD, it's no problem. If you drop something with this physical head still in there, oh look. Doesn't make a sound. Oh, there it is, this ghastly sound. Yeah, then you're pretty much screwed. So yeah, this is I spent a sizable amount of money that I actually intended to save this year, but I had to spend it on a new hard drive. Okay, so Dom DS says, cheers, for me it's beer time tonight. So yeah, by the way, I also got myself some coffee, because I always have to have my coffee and my water. So I think if you all stay hydrated in some way, we're good. Water, of course, is best. I just have it run through the coffee maker before I drink it, so we should be fine. Okay, so let me switch over to this beautiful desktop, and with my backup solution, yeah, let's I try to make sense of it myself, because like I said, it has been growing over the years. So, oh my god, Frank subscribed, thank you so much for your subscription. It's very much appreciated. Always nice to see people really subscribing to this little mess that is my channel. Okay, Cursey Boo says water, there we go, right. Also, I'm seeing my Corona hair. Yeah, so probably I think some of you who are in the hair cutting industry probably have noticed I have some kind of roots that don't quite match with the rest of my hair. So yeah, this is my natural hair color, and this is my COVID. So it's, as I say, it's part in the front, pandemic in the back. So yeah, I'm really sorry for not looking my best today, but I hope you will. I mean, since we're talking about data, so it shouldn't be too much about my dark days, Phil. Yeah, exactly. And oh my god, also Joey Pring subscribed with Prime Gaming. Thank you so much for your subscription. My god, oh, today's a good day. 2021 can't be that bad now, can it? Yeah, maybe I should have some sound of just some chirps there when nothing is when the audience is not responding. Okay, so data retention, there we go. Okay, so the thing is, as I've outlined before, I make videos, which in turn produces a lot of data, and I've been more or less archiving my data on various kinds of different media over the decades. I started with floppy disks, and then the good old CDs came out. CDs, you remember those discs that look like vinyl records? My god, when I'm trying to describe CDs and my only reference is vinyl records, I am not making any friends there. So yeah, CDs, those flat things, and CD-ROMs are, maybe I still got one around here. No, I've cleaned things up. There is no CD-ROM on my table. Anyway, so optical media, probably not the best thing you could back up to. I found this out when I had hundreds of archive CDs where I just burned my current projects onto them, then deleted them on my drives and so on and so forth. I had hundreds of those, and about 40 I could still read a couple of years back, so there we go. So at one point I realized optical media are not the best way to save your data. So then I thought, what is the best way to store data? Well, it's probably hard drives then. And I got a bunch of external hard drives. The next thing is, a couple of years later, you realize, my God, it takes an awful long time to restore something, because the external hard drives, some have controllers that are still USB 1 or USB 2, so you grow old while watching a 100 gigabyte file just slowly trickle onto your disk. So that was not good. Then I thought maybe I should invest in more internal drives and just get an external reader, which as we all know, it's not a problem of the actual controller, because if it's a SATA drive, you can just stick it in, and if you connect this hard disk reader via USB 3, via Thunderbolt, whatever, it will always be the fastest that the drive can perform. And I did this for a couple of years, and then I realized I was having too many drives of different kinds of capacity and so on and so forth. And in the end, it was like 20 kilograms, that's like 40 pounds, 37 pounds of just hard drives lying around with different standards, some of the old IDE sorts, some SATA, some with a weird connector I've never seen before anywhere else, because there were some SAS drives or something. Long story short, that didn't work out. And then I really thought maybe I should educate myself on the issue. How do big corporations store their data? And what I came up with was tape-based backups. And by tapes, I mean a little bit like for the good old Commodore users among us, it's essentially the same principle. You store data on magnetic tape, just like you would on a Commodore dataset. But yeah, this is what I'm using is the quantum standard, the LTO standard. That's linear tape operation, if I'm not mistaken. And essentially, yeah, it's magnetic tape, and as long as you don't expose it to a strong variety of different environments where you store it in. If you store it at cool temperatures and dry, and one thing that is very important, don't put it flat like this, because the entire spool rests on its sides where the data track is, or the index track is. So always, if you have tapes, store them like this, that the tape on the reels themselves is hanging. So this is just like this. Very important note. Right, and this is what I've been saving up to many months, that I could afford myself one of those big tape drives, one of those LTO drives. And then, of course, you had to sort your data and back it up on there. You might be wondering, how much data can you get on this kind of tape? And with this LTO system, it keeps evolving, and they suggest that you compress your data when you put it on, because uncompressed you can store 6 terabytes onto one of those LTO 7 tapes. Now there's LTO 9, which goes up to I think 15 or 16 terabytes per tape. So this is an immense amount of storage that you can get there. The big downside to this is, I mean, on one thing, the upsides are that it's you can store it easily. You don't have to spin it up like hard disks. This was one thing that I realized quite late, that if you have a hard drive sitting on your shelf for 7, 10, 12 years and you don't spin it up at least every couple of years or so, it might not work again, and then you have to pay good money to get it restored and so on. And yeah, with tapes you just pop it in and it works, provided you keep your LTO that actually reads the tapes. With LTO, there has been this recommendation that every new LTO should at least be able to be backwards compatible in read mode to the last 2 generations. So my LTO 7 is able or capable to read LTO 5 tapes, but it can't write them, of course. So I thought, yeah, this is good and fine, and so I got the newest LTO that was the LTO 7, and this is what I use to back up my tapes to. There are different file formats or storage formats, essentially, how you could back up something to an LTO. The big corporations, as I found out, they have their some sort of database system where you store the database of all the data that's on there, and then you just zip it as a huge chunk and put that on a tape. The problem is, of course, if you want to find something on the tape, you have to restore the entire tape, which can take, in my case, a couple of hours, even days even. I mean, since it's one large contiguous chunk, it's not so much of a problem that you would have otherwise. I will get to that, but it still takes a lot of time if you just need one 30 kilobyte file of this tape. So what I chose to do is I'm using the LTFS, that's the linear tape file system, and essentially it's an open, I think even open source, or at least, well, it's an open system, an open implementation that's for Mac, Linux, Windows, pretty much anything that, I mean, the specification is open, so that if you want to write your own operating system, that you can integrate this set very well. The reason for this being is that it mounts like a drive. If you insert and mount it the LTO, it appears in Windows like a drive. It's awfully slow and it's loud because the reels keep spinning all the time if it's on seek mode, but you can just drag and drop files on there, and there you go. So I thought this was the best solution for me. And now I'll have a look at the chat because there's been going on quite a bit. Crickets, Lady Mr. Leaf said 10 minutes ago. Yeah, exactly. This chirping crickets. Thank you. Lady Miss Liv said I had a 5 megabyte, 500 megs backup USB drive. It's only like a quarter of its use. 500 megabytes. Those were huge back then. Maybe there's some space for a great appearance by Dark Days Phil in one of your upcoming LD postmortems. Oh my god, Dark Days Phil. Yeah, always brooding and with eye shadow. Probably, maybe. Speaking of which, I should probably back up my latest project, lol. I think I scream if I lost that code. Yeah, which brings me to how, this was just the overall thing. My philosophy of backing up is to tape. So how does this work in practice? How do I back up projects that I'm currently working on, and so on? So now, which brings us finally, you know what, let me switch the display size from 4K to full HD. That because I probably need glasses and I can't admit myself to that, so this is why I just keep changing the resolution there, at least for the stream. One thing I noticed is you don't see my mouse pointer. Apologies for that. Where is my glass brick? There we go. There's the mouse pointer. Glass brick is now running. Perfect. So how do I do things? Well, when I'm working, most of the time I'm working from my Dropbox. I've paid good money to Dropbox in the past couple of years, but to me cloud-based is the safest option for me, because sometimes I delete a file by accident, and with Dropbox I can rewind, as they say it, for I think 30 days or so on. At least smaller files, I've lost a big file and weren't able to restore it. But pretty much everything that I have that I'm working on besides videos is in my Dropbox. My organization is pretty simple. I get here apps for pretty much all the apps that I need, also purchased apps or installers, and usually I mostly get the portable version of apps that I just have it in my Dropbox and then can use it on my home PC, also my also on my notebook. The cool thing about this, pro tip, if you have something like this where you want to have the same structure on your notebook as on your desktop PC, the Dropbox has the same file structure and is on a drive with the same drive letter. So when I make a new shortcut, or even have projects where I have to hard code or set the environment paths to certain apps the hard way, it works on both machines without any problems. So yeah, I got my apps, like I said, use mostly portable apps or just installers for things like when I'm on a foreign PC and I just need some things where I just log into my Dropbox and then get LibreOffice and back and running. Frank says your video projects won't compress though. And Lady Mr. Leaf had a correction that her backup drive is 300 gigabytes and she only uses 3 gigabytes. I've never had the problem that I had too little space. Usually I run out of space, but I will probably get into this in a couple of minutes. Okay, yeah, those are my apps. I got customization, which is all my preferences, user preferences. For example, Photoshop, brush settings, a lot of batch scripts, because I have here color profiles, scripts and presets. There is my DOS batches. For example, I have here things like take a screenshot every 5 seconds, which I use for game jams. Or I got things like video container wrapping operations. And there is a lot, because one of my biggest, you've probably noticed, one of my biggest pastimes is doing video stuff. And why can't I zoom in? My God, please, no. Why do you keep doing this to me, glass brick? So, Shift and Alt. No, I wanted Windows and Alt. There we go. Yes, now it works. Okay. So, yeah, apologies. Apparently, whenever I reset my PC, I forget to set this shortcut there. So you can see, yeah, all my DOS batches go in there. And then, of course, no, this was wrong. Then I got documents that are ebooks and, yeah, general just documents and what I download from Google Drive, correspondence, such things. MISC, whatever doesn't fit. And, of course, the big one, projects. And I have here my projects categorized by underscore for my own sake, that I know whenever a folder starts with an underscore, it's a group folder. Otherwise, it's of a certain project. For here, you can see projects. There's a group for art, a group for audio, group for color grading, group even for comedy, and things that are not groups. This is just Phil Strahl. This is just my since I'm working also as a colorist. This is my everything that's to my business as a colorist related, this Filmotion Video, this streaming channel, Pixel Prophecy, and my music, Seth Carissa, and so on and so forth. So when we go into art, you can see here archived. We will get to this. Yeah, I got icons. What icons did I make this year? Oh God, when I'm zoomed in, I can't use the keyboard properly. Yeah, those two icons here. Those two icons here I made this year, for example. So you can see this is basically my structure, and inside of any of those folders, right now it says archived, but in each of those folders I have a year. For example, you can see here Photoshop, and this one starts 2021 because I'm already done cleaning up. And there's also this folder that's archived. This folder is write protected. And everything from the past years is in there. And I've always, when I'm done copying something onto my archive and I know that it's archived, I change the folder icon so that I know, yeah, this one has already been archived. And since it sits here in this archived folder, it also gets write protected. The reason for being having this write protected is that whenever I go back, I need something from like 2016 and I need to make some changes, and then I save it in the archived folder. The thing is, yeah, no matter how minor or how major these changes were, now they aren't part of anything that has been archived before. So I restrict myself from being able to modify things that I know that are already archived. So, and for my videos, of course, they don't go into Dropbox, so I have them on their own drive. And let's see, 2020, because this one is already archived, and you can see here all my video projects, which includes all my live stream sessions. They go here into this this folder. The ones with the green tick mark means those are finished projects. Most of the streams are finished pretty much as soon as I'm done uploading them to YouTube. But you probably noticed the absence of the latest Ludum Dare documentary post-mortem that I'm still working on. And yes, current projects, I always move them to the current year. So there you will see Pixel Prophecy. There we got the Ludum Dare 46, Ludum Dare 47, Ludum Dare 42 even. We got projects from 2018, from 2019. So those get backed up, but I still keep copying them over because they are not finished. So I hope this makes sense in terms of the overall structure. of the data that I have, and now how to organize this data in a fashion that I can find things again that I need. As we've seen here in projects, since I sort pretty much everything by year, I can't look for a certain the thing is that I have to roughly know the year in which a certain project occurred. This is the only downside I have to this kind of file and folder based structure that I have. But apart from that, it has served me pretty well. Let's have first a look at the chat. Not gonna lie, sometime last year I was debating on asking you to get me in touch with Seth Carissa in case he makes video game music. Yeah, you might still. I can still pass on any requests. Always make sure you appear as often as possible in the credits. And it's not until he releases some of his music with the picture that I realized it was him. Oh, this was cool. So yeah, my stage persona, Seth Carissa, sometimes appears, but not often. He's even more withdrawn than I am. Okay, so my projects, my video projects are on a separate disk. Pretty much everything else is in the Dropbox, but certainly you can't have everything in a Dropbox because you get crazy when everything is syncing, especially when you're on a metered connection and not even if you're at some place where your friends, you got their Wi-Fi, and then your Dropbox says, oh, look at this, I need to download 120 gigs that you changed on your work PC at home. Nobody's be friends with you long. I mean, since now we're in the COVID situation, chances pretty much are very slim that you're at a friend's place where you download their Wi-Fi, because we all know you're in your neighbor's Wi-Fi, unless you're not leeching. This is something that I, as a streamer, can't do. I can't leech off my neighbor's Wi-Fi because I need to keep an upstream. Also, I'm very lucky that I don't have to resort to such questionable means. Unlimited internet, says Lady Mistleaf. And yeah, this is, I think, the greatest thing that we have nowadays compared to 20 years ago, where I think the first web space that I got when we got internet at home around 2000, and they granted me web space on their server of my ISP for, get this, 1 megabyte. So yeah, everything was compressed JPEGs and GIFs with 12 colors. But hey, it worked. It worked. Okay, so this is what I have here on my working machine. So when something is done, or I mean, even during the year, you want to keep backups or something. I mean, when something happens here on my video folder and I delete something, everything is gone. Or is it? No, because now comes into play my home server. It's just a bare bone running Windows 10. I tried running Linux and the kernel just kept clogging up everything, because with every kernel update at some point it's just said, yeah, every partition is full, and at a certain point I didn't feel like hassling with Linux because I thought, yeah, I just want something that I don't have to watch. Okay, it's Windows 10. At a certain point it will just randomly update itself and restart, but I can live with that for now. Haven't had any problems since then. So yeah, I have a bare bone there in my shelf. And connected to this little bare bone is via USB 3 is a big tower with hard drives in there. Let me just connect to it. Off screen, of course. And can find, oh, of course, I need not to mistype. And there we go. So this is how it looks on my at least the disks that are shared. Archive 1983 to 2012, archive 2013 to 2016, and so on and so forth. Then I get disk images whenever I'm imaging my operating system, game captures because I'm doing videos about games. So this is quite a lot. Look at this. It's empty because everything on there has already been backed up. I have to zoom out to use the mouse or the keyboard. I'm really sorry. And of course, media, where all my MP3s and ripped CDs go, and so on. My God, CDs, good old times. But yeah, most importantly is the archive, and you can see here I've got everything that I've ever produced. Well, not quite everything that I ever produced that I still managed to keep a backup of until this day is in in one of those folders. And you can see here it looks like unsorted photography, applications, audio, legacy stuff, save games, VFX assets, and then I even got data from here. Look at 1995. What do I have from 1995? I got some sound effects, at least the Windows sound effects for some reason. I tended to keep, and sometimes I still need them. Then of course I got game dev, and look, Solar Fighter 2, and Space Race. And what is this? This is a basic program. This is a basic, one of my first things, and I even made a little label, and I called myself White Panther, which is problematic for so many reasons, but I didn't know it better at the time. So yeah, still got at least of those things that I still got. They are accessible to me. So you might wonder, gee golly, he was talking about tapes all the time now, and now he's showing us just his data on hard drives. So what's that about? So the reason is everything that's on a hard drive there is also mirrored on tape, and not just on one tape, but on two tapes, because redundancy essentially. So for some things that I need quickly, like if I want to show someone my the label I drew on the floppy disk for my game from 1995 in BASIC, I can just go onto my home server and have everything there on the hard disk. But should this disk ever crash, it's no problem, because I got everything that is on those disks also on tape. So the first thing is, in terms of retention, is I save it to my Dropbox, that everything is in the cloud. Then everything that is not in the cloud, such as my videos, because it's just too big for them. Some things of my videos are in the cloud, for example, all the scripts that I write, or some of the image editing, so the smaller files go into the cloud. But and those get backupped onto, you can see this one here, this is called just Archive 2020 to current. So I've always have one drive that is for the current projects, and there I have something that's archived and non-archived. What would this mean? So yeah, of course, non-archived is Phil and 2021. So right now there is not a lot in there. I think those are just empty folders right now. But during the year, whenever I'm working on big projects, I regularly sync them, I back up them, I mirror them onto this tower that I have here on that it goes already in this file structure that I'm using for archiving. So for example, my videos of last year are in this video folder, and there Pixel Prophecy, this was the wrong one, there we go, Pixel Prophecy, and all the folders that you've seen before that I still have, of course, because you can't have backups, too many backups are still in there. So again, and then I just, like I said, once a week or whenever I'm done working on a project, usually at the end of the day, I just back it up onto my home server. So I have it on locally on my disk, I have it on my home server, and sometimes when I'm working on something on the go, I also copy it, mirror it to my on my notebook. So essentially I have a copy of current projects like 4 times or 3 to 4 times. And like I said, this is incredibly handy that you still keep stuff, because when you drop your backup drive, so the biggest problem that I had there was not about the data I lost, because I was sloppy or at least lazy, and sometimes I didn't mirror properly and deleted stuff. I already moved it onto this stuff because I thought, yeah, I'm going to do the backup tomorrow anyway, so sure, I just move it and not just copy it and then do the backup and then can delete it, because I felt it was much cleaner. And then I dropped it, and everything that I just moved and only existed on this drive, of course, is now gone. Doesn't matter anymore. So, and this is why the biggest problem or the biggest issue with dropping this drive was spending the money to get a new one, a bigger one, and then copy everything else that I already have there and do the sorting, because this sorting takes the longest. And I will show you how I help myself to know what to do with each backup run. So this happens during the year. Sometimes I just mirror my entire Dropbox, like 3 or 4 times. I mirror my entire Dropbox onto my external, onto my home server, and every video project pretty much every time when I'm done working with it. And sometimes, I mean, it's not pretty much yeah, I mean, it's pretty much every time that I'm done working, but sometimes where it's like once a week, because I know I'm doing some reorganizing, and sometimes I'm losing files that I probably would have needed somewhere else, and then it's good that I still have a 1 week old snapshot of the entire project. Came in handy sometimes. So this is also a suggestion for me. Don't back up too often, because when you made a mistake, you were tired the day before, and in the evening you said, yeah, I just sync it, I just mirror it onto the server, and then it said, yeah, do you really want to delete 600 gigabytes? And I say, yeah, sure. And then it's because you moved a folder, and the backup program thought you deleted the folder, but you moved it somewhere else, and bad things tend to happen. So yeah, by the way, again, really sorry for neglecting the chat. Let's see what I missed. The computer name is Procrasti. Yeah, Lady Miss Liv asks. Yeah, my computer, my home server's name is Procrasti because our home network at one time was called the Procrastination. And yeah, this is where this comes from, because this is where all the procrastination comes from, because at first our home server... Email, beautiful. First, our home server was just there to essentially just host us with music and videos and pretty much anything, all the DVDs that I ripped on there, that we could stream it through a home server. So it was mostly for procrastination purposes. This is where the name comes from. Is it short for procrastination? Yeah, I know I would procrastinate on backups. And Frank says, is unsorted the biggest one in the early things, in the early folders? It is, because you can see here, those are the archive DVDs that are just, yeah, the DVDs that still worked, because the first archive DVD housed all my archive CDs, and the first archive CD housed all my archived floppies, because each medium was just a multitude of the space that I had before. So yeah, those I haven't entirely sorted through, but those that I have go into those neatly organized folders there. And so where everything is just, I go into the year 2007, look at digital paintings, and then Mute City Skyline. Apparently this is what I call digital painting back then, which was just drawing over distorted images and so on. But look at this, I still got the Photoshop file and the PNG file of it, which is good. So whenever, like I said, whenever I need something, I can just look at the file structure, and it's the same for every year. And of course that it never grows the same for every year. It's 2 years or 3 years back when I started doing this entire LTO thing and did my entire system of backing up. I mean, it was a major undertaking. It took like months really to get this mostly sorted, but since then it has been really a time saver, because since I'm doing this YouTube thing, and for videos sometimes I think, my god, I did this when I was in college in like 2006, and I think there should be still a file. Of course there still is a file, I can find it now. This is the big upside to this. So many layers of cache, says Cursey Boo. Yeah. And Frank also says, yes, you need 2 copies at all times. If your backup procedure involves a time window where you only have live data and no backups, you basically have no backup procedure. Case in point. So I didn't lose much, but yeah, some old projects from 2017 that I still found on some external drives, and thought, I've just found this drive. Those probably never were backupped. And oh my god, it's so nice to see those old projects again. I thought I'd lost them. And then I just moved them over into this drive, and now I know for sure I've lost them. Same with backup procedures involving USB drives, Frank says. You need 2 USB drives if you do that. If you have an interesting electrical event, lightning strike, etc., when your only backup drive is connected, it can take out both your internal drives and your backup drive in one go. Yeah, this is why I have the tapes, because I mean, I have a surge protector on the power outlets on both the PC and the tower there, but you're never sure. I think the biggest fear that I have, number 2 is Corona, and number 1 is a global electromagnetic pulse, because that would make me very sad. And Lady Misliv says, since my stuff is mostly code, I'm thinking of creating a private GitHub folder for this. I think if it's code or text-based or just some sort of smaller files, I think if you have a cloud storage or even self-hosted cloud storage, I think this would be the way to go, at least for me. But yeah, with all those big files, and like I said, I also have a business aside where I do color grading, and I'm also employed in doing color grading, but at least I don't have the files from work at my own home office. But yeah, again, still, since I'm having color grading business, and now with 4K video and digital imaging of like up to 8K, and then sometimes you need to have something uncompressed, and suddenly you have a project that's for a client and it's like 2 terabytes or something. So yeah, it's really, the data is just insane nowadays. But yeah, so I talked a bit about this system that I have, and this system that I have involves this beautiful thing. Well, it's a bit big, and this beautiful thing is my own personal wiki that has it's a media wiki that I just host entirely for myself. It started out first when I was in college, just to keep track of all the assignments that I had, and pretty much started doing all the writing and so on in this wiki, and from then it just grew. You can see here YouTube, games, random ideas, tutorial, and the biggest one category that I have is workflows. And you can see here I got a year-end LTO backup. So this backup to tape happens once a year, and to me it's the year-end. It's during the Christmas holidays. It's always something where I just go back and just collect all the data that I have over the year. So about this thing here, I have made a huge ass screenshot of this so that it's easier to scroll and point at, and also that I've taken out some of the exposed data that there was. So you can see this is my year-end backup workflow. This has also been growing over the years, and I thought, as always, it's good if you do something that you don't do very often and you're prone to forget it, just write it down, even if it's just for yourself. And this is what I did. So I thought to myself, okay, I will write this down in case, I don't know, I have a stroke or anything, that I can teach myself how to do backups just from zero. And first I say here different types of data, where I have cumulative data and year-specific data and snapshot data. So it's pretty self-explanatory what this does. And the workflow is: have a drive on Procrasti, the backup drive, then collect all the files outlined, which means I just copy over the entire Dropbox that I have and all the video files that I have, and all, as it says here, the entire Dropbox file, all the remaining projects that aren't on Dropbox as well, and put respective folders in the Dropbox directory and below. So pretty much all the data just goes copied over onto my drive there, and there it's being picked clean and sorted. So you can see here my data preparation checklist. Have an admin day. This is my monthly administrative day where I just sort tax stuff and invoices and all that kind of things. So clean up Google data, then request a Google takeout. Yeah, I take. You can from Google, if you Google data takeout. For those of you who don't know, this is your entire Google data down to pretty much every little JSON serialized bit of information Google has about you. It's pretty eye-opening because it's gigabytes of data. If you've been active on Google, it's things like a Gmail, but also how often you logged in, your entire search history in YouTube. And what was a bit embarrassing or shocking to me was I got this little folder with MP3s, and I listened to these MP3s, and it's what I talked to the Google Assistant, the Siri equivalent of Android. It was just me recording things like Stephen Colbert, age, and things like that, because of course they retain everything. So, and once this is done, usually I just clean out my Google data for that year. Then, of course, I get data on my phone, such as photos, screenshots, digital paintings, text notes, voice notes, tracks sometimes when I'm out and about. Then all my notebooks, download missing GameStar magazines, because I like to keep also, sometimes I like to look at old GameStar articles. Saved games. My God, this is so important. When you're playing a game and you finished it, copy the saved games. I started copying the saved games along with the video files that, probably that I record myself playing videos. I mean, not myself, but the games that I play, playing games. I play games and record them and then encode them, and it's good that I store the saved games along with it. So should I ever need something for a video in like 3 years, I still have the save game and already know from the video where in the game I am. So I go through all the memory sticks and USB drives that you have, data on the network, then of course my color grading databases and so on, data from all web domains, all the SQL databases and so on. So it's pretty much everything that just happens throughout the year that I just start and collect, essentially. Lady Misliv says, close that bracket on the backup drives. Yeah, this one here, you mean. I've noticed this too just now. So I will probably go back and close that bracket. Oh, yes. Not bracket, but parenthesis, exactly. Yeah, and Stephen Colbert. My God, I'm a big fan of Stephen Colbert. It's been a huge influence. I wish I had this dry and sarcastic, still warm-hearted kind of humor, but I'm working on it. Yeah, right now I have all the data collected, so I make sure those are little check boxes. Essentially, I'm so proud that I made my own little templates on a media wiki, and those are just emojis, and when you click on it, it switches itself to the tick box emoji. So it's just a switch between two states on an emoji, but it's just for me that I can tick those off as I go along. And now here we are at data organization and collection. So now this details pretty much what are the folders and what should go in the folders and roughly how big those folders are and so on and so forth. So pretty much that everything has the same structure overall, and even special cases that denote case of things that need to be moved around differently than one would assume. So of course, document all your stuff. Additional files, the FAQs even, how to keep a track during the day which files are new. Right, so during the year I have a folder that's archived and unarchived. So for example, let's switch back to Procrasti. And here with game captures, you can see here I have a folder that's game caps archived and game caps. So when I'm creating new files during the year, the things that go here, right now it's empty, but essentially it mirrors the same folder structure that in the end I just can merge everything together. But for example, if I make a new recording for Commander Keen, let's say Commander Keen 2, it still goes here into game caps, and I make a new folder for PC, essentially that it, like I said, that it just mirrors the file structure that I have in the other tree, that at the end I can just combine those two. So that's that. This is the live wiki. Where were we? Here we were. Then how to copy best. I use the program that's called TerraCopy because it allows you to automatically verify files via MD5 checksum once you're done. It takes twice as long, but to me this has always been the safest bet in terms of copying files where I knew. I also got the unstoppable copier when I'm copying from defective or probably defective floppy drives. Let me show you, because I love the icon of the unstoppable copier. Where do I have it? It's old, very old, but look at this. It's a little cat, and apparently this is Dion, and every app this person whose name I can't find made has a different cat in the icon, which I find very nice, very endearing. Chat, I honestly had no idea the Google Home collected your voice clips and stuff. Yeah, neither did I. But I still keep it. I still have a 3 megabyte big HTML file, and we will get to bigger HTML files today. 3 megabyte big HTML file of my searches on YouTube the past year, and so on. So it's, like I said, even what you searched in your own Gmail box, for example. It's just, yeah, like I said, it's a little bit creepy. But I mean, of course, I didn't expect any less. But once you see pretty much everything there on your Google takeout, it's a bit terrifying, to be honest. Right, what to do with new files to be added to existing archives? Got a checklist for this. Making folders, then archiving unfinished projects. Yeah, sometimes I probably not doing this anymore by appending this unfinished in brackets there, that I know that a project is not finished. Keeping archived projects in the Dropbox, exactly there with examples and so on. And now finally here we are at the writing to tape, and this is probably one of the more interesting things, and I even prepared some videos today to show to you how this process works, because I've finished backing up 2020 today, and I shot some nice little videos about the little process, so that you can see it actually in action how this tape thing works. Right, so hardware preparation, make sure that the current LTFS drivers are installed. This is very basic, but I had this year where I had this huge ass LTO, thousands of euros worth of equipment, and I connected it, and with the SAS driver, everything new, and it wouldn't. It always said, yeah, error reading drive. And I thought, my God, it's broken. No, just uninstall the driver, reinstall it, works again. So always make sure that you got the latest interface drivers. Yeah, insert the LTO interface card into an ePCI slot and hook up the LTO. I have the card permanently installed right now, so that it's much easier, that I don't have to essentially just eviscerate my CPU, I want to say, my motherboard, each time that I need to add something there. And take out the drive to be archived. Right, because with an LTO, you just pipe so much data through the cable, and I don't want to back up from a drive that's connected through my home network and right from there to the LTO. No, what I do is I take the drive out of my home server's tower, bring it here, preferably not drop it, like I did with this one here, and then stick it in my desktop PC, and from there I do the LTO backup essentially. Then creating an HTML index. This is a good one, because I thought it would be nice to be able to search if there is a certain file, should I ever need it, if there is a certain file on one of those drives that are archived. And for this I got this program that's called dir to HTML, this one here, and it does exactly what you would assume it does. It just takes a directory and then creates a website that looks like an Explorer, Windows Explorer or Norton Commander like experience, but yeah, just as an HTML website. And let me show you if I can find one for this year, because it tends to get quite big. Yeah, if I can find it. But yeah, the thing is, I can just use this one HTML file, or so I thought, essentially to browse pretty much what everything is there on the drive. Because like I said, with the LTO, it's a tape-based storage solution. So it means whenever you request a file, it has to seek more or less the entire tape. There is of course some caching going on, but the worst case, it has to reel through the entire tape to find the file that you were looking at and update the file table and so on and so forth. So it takes quite a long time if you just want to browse folders and yeah, maybe there, no, it's not it, maybe this other folder. So it takes too long, and this is why I thought if I have everything in just one easily browsable HTML file and not in some weird database format that's probably not working, because in 10 years from now, because the corporation that produces this database is defunct and it was proprietary and nobody knows how to read these files and so on. So I thought HTML is the safest solution. Linear tape file system is the safest solution because both of them are open. Right. Transfer, no. Since I cleaned up my Dropbox, like I said, it's a bit of a mess. Oh, enter password, right. Because I don't want to have my entire files. There we go. Failed. This is what I couldn't do because of since my latest failure here. So I lost, like I said, I lost some files. So what do I have here? This is the entire index file of the current backup, and you can see here it's, if you can see it, it's 70.6 megabytes. This is an HTML file, and mind you, I already reduced the size by taking out all the blank space and blank lines and so on. So if I am to open this now with Notepad++, my God, it's you can see it already takes a while. So it probably wasn't the best solution to try to do this in one huge file. I just thought, yeah, just drop the file as the very first file on tape, that it's the first file that I can read. And then I just copy it over and browse what's on the tape from this file, and then essentially just get the right files on my first attempt from the tape. Frank says, I have to go now, have fun with the rest of the stream. Thank you so much for staying with us. You're probably already gone, but again, it's very much appreciated that you listen to me spouting nonsense about backing up. And also, Lady Miss Liv says, OMG, Commander Keen, old school. Yeah, sometimes I thought maybe I need it for a video or even not. Sometimes I feel in a retro gaming mood, and why not record myself playing Commander Keen, because then I probably say, you know what, this reminds me of this one bit in Commander Keen, and then I still have the video of it. So yeah, this is how this huge ass file looks in Notepad++, and I'm scrolling now, and you can see it's just terrible. The performance is terrible. And what's also terrible is you can't open this file in its entirety. I tried Opera, I tried Chrome, I tried Firefox, of course, but I also tried weird browsers like Lynx. If anyone knows the Lynx browser, please let me know. please write in the chat, because I tried them all, but oh, look at those. Those are the podcasts that I still want to listen to. It's a lot of them. I just subscribed to a new German podcasts, and I got access to their archives, and yeah, I got 1,200 podcasts I still need to listen to. So I'm set for the next lockdown. Cheers. Where was I before? Right, this huge file. And I will try and open it up now in my, there we go, in my Firefox. And the good thing about this is that the first couple of folders are readable. For example, should I go here maybe into ASCII art, the links work, but sluggishly. So yeah, you can see this was the idea, and in practice it doesn't work. But my only guess is that computers of the future will probably have browsers that are more capable of parsing files with literally hundreds of thousands of links in an 80 megabyte ASCII encoded file. So there we go. Look at this. There we are in the NES Percussion Masters. Like I said, this works for at least the first couple of folders, but at a certain point it just won't scroll past certain things. So yeah, this was a good idea, but didn't quite work. So labeling. This is how I label my tapes. Still there with my labeling machine, with what settings I need to use on my labeling machine, that everything looks like this, that each tape looks as much as the other. Formatting, then I need to format it and serialize the tape. Got my own, of course, my own system of how I label the tape. Then copying, and here it says first copy the HTML index onto the tape, that it's the first thing to read. And my solution of doing all this mirroring and backing up and so on has been for decades now sync back. Let me bring it over here, and this is my sync back syncing tool. And yeah, here is all my Pixel Prophecy video projects that are run here, but this one here I just created the LTO backup media, and essentially you can say backup or mirror or reflect or pretty much anything that you would hope for from a good backing up solution, because here when you switch over to expert, you can use even VHD, you can use decryption, you can compress files, you can set certain rules, decision based, which decisions are based upon file date, for example, versioning, integrity checking, how to compare, which programs you want to use to compare things. You get even variables and so on. So this is amazing. I love this program to death, because it always has been so kind to me in backing up and mirroring. Because whenever you start running one of those profiles, it lists you, okay, those are the things that are going to happen. There's a summary, and when you back up, when you think you mirror just a folder of 200 gigs onto the other drive, and it says, yeah, you do you really want to delete 200 gigs? You think, oh shit, I renamed the folder or something. It's probably renaming is not a problem, but something other is. If you move the folder, for example, this is problematic. But yeah, SyncBack is, like I said, I'm using the Pro version. There's the SyncBack SE version. I think there's even a light version that doesn't cost you anything. So this has been my go-to ever since I realized that Microsoft SyncToy wasn't up to the task, which was around 2007, 2008. So this has been around quite long. Okay, you're so brave. I'm almost through. And then we're going to finalize, and I'll even put a text file on it. You can see here, this is the drive on my the Procrusty drive, and there it says archived on, so that I know on which tape to look. So it goes both ways. The tape says this is the file structure, and the original hard drive says I'm backed up on this tape and what hasn't been backed up. For example, in this case it said except the Outer Worlds, because I was still playing that game last year, for example. And finally, I make a screenshot of just the drive information, where I got the UUID number, how much space was used, and so on. But I will get to this in a bit. And we're almost there. So after the backup, now you could delete the old files on Scandium. This is my video drive, but it's best to keep the files around until you're running low on space. And this has always been my go-to in the past years, that I only delete files or folders when I think, yeah, probably need more space for this new project. So my drives usually are pretty full, but it's no problem, because I can delete like 60% of them, because those have already been backed up. But if the tape starts burning, if Procrusty fails, I still got here from 2019 some projects still backed up. So you can see I'm extremely careful with my backups and file retention, because I've been burned so many times. I think the one thing that hurt most happened in 2004, where I was having like tens of thousands of digital photos that I made with my first digital camera, sorted everything, and I was doing my civil service. Had my PC dort, this is German, I had my PC there, and but the cable of my external drive, where all my photos were, was a bit too short, so I had spanned essentially the power adapter. The cable just ran through the aisle, and of course someone was in a hurry and ran through and ripped the entire case. It just flew through the air and crashed, of course, with everything, all the photos in there. And of course, those were priceless memories. They were not just some projects where I thought, yeah, if I really wanted to, I could do them again. No, those were, my God, relationships, travels, pretty much everything, my entire life up to that point in photos was gone. And then I didn't back up for the next couple of years, and then something like this happened again, and I thought, screw this, I probably do some be better in terms of backups. And since then, like I said, it's so good that this thing here, I mean good, this 10 terabyte drive crashed, and I didn't lose much. Like I said, it's like I said around 15% I lost that was on that file, but then this week I went through all my drives and everything, and I still had, like, I would say 88% still. So I just lost 1 or 2% of the data that was on there, and if this were my only backup drive, then I would have lost a year. And so it's not that much. It's just some old project that I probably won't be looking at anyway. So it's no biggie. And the only thing that really stung was shelling out like 500 euros for a new drive, because this is the other thing. I always buy the biggest drives that are currently on the market when one drive is full or one drive fails or so on. So last year this was, can you see, 10 terabytes, and now I got myself the 16 terabytes. So I think I should be good for another year or two with that drive. And finally, move all the projects into the archived folder and write protect them and clean up old installers and so on and so forth. And to keep an overview of the tapes or what changed during each backup run and so on, Let me just show you here in my wiki. So because I got all my LTO archival tapes as well. And this is what I did this year. I implemented this template here in my media wiki, where I can essentially just find out by the ID, okay, so my game captures up to 2020 are on this thing here, and this drive, since each time I'm just, for example, my game captures and disk images and so on, I don't back up as one. I just keep adding to the tape until the tape is full. And for example, here now my game captures, I can see 93% without even inserting the tape. I know the tape is full. And here for my archival runs, so last year I did a fresh backup of everything because I changed so much. And also if here the changes are indicated here in yellow. So for example, here with the disk images, where I just appended the disk images of that year, which is yellow. And here with the photo archive, it's just this tiny little yellow thing there, because it's just a couple of gigabytes, so really not much. And also here with media archive, I think I bought 2 albums last year, so it's not even visible because it's just in the megabytes. My god, cute megabytes. And yeah, and with archive 2020, it's the entire archive. So yeah, and whenever I have something that I thought might be interesting as a note to me, for example, slightly weird noises, which brings us to the backup tapes, because they're tapes and they get reeled around quite a lot. So you want to minimize each time the entire tape has to go around from start to finish. And when something starts making weird noises, I had this one tape that I broke, and let me show you how this LTO tapes looks on the inside, because I thought this might be also quite interesting. Where do I have it? Images. No, not this one. Still, there we go. So this is how one of these LTO tapes looks on the inside. It's like VHS tape, essentially. It's even thinner than VHS tape. Yeah, and this is how it looked like when the machine ate the tape, essentially. But my god, you got some very sturdy screws with this one. Yeah, it's very, very, very fine tape. And yeah, this is how it looks like. So, and by the way, like I said, this is one thing costs like 70 euros if you buy them in bulk. And the first time I bought 20 in bulk, and it was, oh my god, it was a big expense. So this is another thing. The other downside with backing to LTO is it's just very costly. But again, I've paid once I paid 4,000 euros to have one drive tried to have it restored, and what I got back were, I think, 40% of the files they could restore, and the entire file structure was gone. Each file had just a random name, random string of characters, so nothing was sorted, nothing was ordered or anything. So I really thought, oh my god, I paid so much for this and didn't even get anything out of it apart from really just the files back. The bare minimum that I paid for was my files back, and I got 40% as is back, and then you have to piece together where each file belongs and so on. So I thought, I swore to myself, never do this again. Anyway, I promised you some nice little videos and how this LTO thing actually looks in practice. And yeah, here we go. Please let me know if the audio is too loud or too quiet, and I will adapt accordingly. And yeah, reel the roll. So this big thing is the LTO. Right now it's idling, so this is why it's so quiet that I can talk over it. But yeah, it's huge, it's heavy, and it's expensive. And in here you can see my archive of last year has already finished, and this is the B drive, which means it's
thanks, Crazy Boo.
The other copy, because I always make 2 copies or tapes of each year. We already have some finished tapes. Those are my...
Just noticed I had my microphone muted. Thanks, Crazy Boo. Yeah, the next one is just about the tapes, and they come boxed, and why I don't like the boxes.
My game recordings, and Yeah, by the way, this is photo archives. Yeah, yeah, you would assume that those things come in those boxes, but the first time I purchased 20 of those for an immense amount of money, and they didn't come with any yeah, little boxes. Yeah, normally my LTOs came in this package here, and I think this was my first HP enterprise product that I ever had. And yeah, it's this battery of 20 cartridges there, and they don't come with any kind of individual box like the new ones that I got myself. So those, thankfully, those come in those little plastic boxes, because this is another thing, you want to keep them dust free. Yeah, I'm not too keen on those boxes, how practical they may be, because there's still the possibility that dust gets through the cracks. I mean, it's not as bad as it would be if you just keep your tapes lying around in the open. But yeah, with tapes and everything mechanical, dust and dirt is really something that you want to avoid, and those have been out in the open for too long. But this is why I store my tapes in those good old yeah, anti-static bags. Those are usually for hard drives, at least the batch that I got. But yeah, I just put a tape in there, stick a label on it. This is why there is a label there, that I can peel it off and stick it on there. And yeah, and then just put it in my closet. Right, yeah, this, I always, like I said, I always make 2 tapes, that in case one tape fails, I still got a backup of the tape. And also a good practice is not to store, if you make 2 backups and store them in exactly the same place. This is not good. You want, of course, your backups to your mirrors of each other. You want to keep them as far apart as possible. In my case here, sometimes I thought I need them more close by. So, excuse me. So I have one tape in my closet up here, and the other one in the basement, because should the house catch fire, I still got the one in the basement. Should the basement be flooded, I still got the ones in my closet. So at least this is the idea. But then again, if an electromagnetic pulse happens and everything dies at the same time, then I'm not... then I'm screwed anyway. Right, as for my Procrasti server, you might want to know how this looks like in actuality. And yeah, this is Procrasti, the server. Yes, and this is our home server. Actually, it's this thing here. This is just an old bare bone, but it connects to this USB tower there. I don't have a RAID or anything in it because I don't need it quite, but in there are all my archive tapes. You can see here game captures, media, disk images, and below here in this compartment I have all my archives sorted by year. You can see also that I put in the date in which I first commissioned the disk, so that I know which might be prone to breaking soon, and also the capacity each, that I don't have to pull them out, and know which, yeah, how big they are. Hi, it's me, your dumbass on duty, because I can't for the life of me remember that to have my microphone muted and to unmute it, because I'm stupid. So Zahab AQ asks, what if your basement gets flooded and your house catches fire? And I said I would throw myself into the fire or into the flood as well, because there's no point in living when all your data is gone. No, kidding aside, maybe those bags are waterproof or not, as Kersey Boo said. Again, at least I have 2 chances to see if one of them still works, but it would be let's say a mediocre catastrophe to me. And Fanofei says, how much gigabyte is a life worth? And that's a good question. And I've lost so much gigabytes in my life, and I think I would like to say I've come out stronger, but still there's still this broken heart inside of me of losing like 20,000 photographs of early 2000s that I will never get back. So it hurts a lot. So you might also wonder what to do when the backup is done, and I also prepared a little video for what to do when the backup is done, or how this looks like with the entire LTO with this big stupid hardware thing there. So I'm muting the microphone, and please, you can already type your microphone is muted because I probably will forget it anyway then. Ozab asks, hopefully it doesn't happen. Sorry if this has already been answered, I just got here. But have you looked into some affordable cloud backups? Yes, I have, and none of them are affordable. And to me, I mean, this what I'm doing here is also not very affordable. I mean, right now it is. The longer I keep using it, the more affordable it gets, essentially. But yeah, I just have so many terabytes of data, so cloud is not an option, because in the end, I don't trust cloud providers. It is because I'm old and I come from a time where every data that you had on your hard drive or on a floppy, and that's where it is, because maybe there is a huge power outage. I don't know, maybe there's civil war in the US going on, who knows? And Kim Jong-un launches a nuke at the Silicon Valley and all the cloud servers there die, who knows? So this is why I always like to have things in physical form as close by as I can, because I'm a bit paranoid. So right, and this is the next video about, what's it called? When backup is done. Telling name. So when the backup is done, the first thing I do is check and see how much space it actually took up. You can see here, this is the amount of bytes. So it's 3.02 terabytes in this case. And then in my personal wiki, I just enter it here. In this case, there we are, the archive 2020B. Once I have this done, I just save it and have everything here as little progress bars. So when I'm done, I can finally eject the tape and get this warning that of course I can't use it right now. And yeah, you can see that this even takes a while until it's finally getting ejected, because it needs to reel to the start of the tape and so on, that everything is in order when I reinsert the tape so that it can read the file table and so on. So yeah, it's not the fastest backup medium, but at least it's the safest. I would hope so. And there we go. So the next thing is, of course, always write protect, and yeah, then we can back this little thing. Okay, now that I'm done, I've ejected my tape, I can switch this thing off, and you will probably hear that it's getting much quieter. Soothing silence. So for this year I can finally pull out the LTO connection, and yeah, it's a bit messy here, but look at this thing here. You got this little blue tag that you can pull, and look at this, this is massive. It feels like you could check into the Matrix with this thing. Alright, now that I'm finished, I can finally package up the LTO for this year, and you can see here some of my unicorn gaffer tape there. And the reason for this is that I apply it there on the front and also on the back when I'm not using this thing, to make sure that no dust gets into the mechanism. Also here on the back I have this unicorn
duct tape. It goes over this fan. There we go. And yeah, finally I can literally pull the plug on this SAS thing. Oh, come on, look at this. This is just, yeah, this is what this high-speed interface looks like. So we're good here. Just get the other side of the cable. Lastly, that I don't forget, I put this sticker on here where it says remove before operation. And I also have this little dot here so that I know in which jack I have to put the SAS cable. There we go. Thank you for your service for another year. Look at me! I unmuted the mic because I'm pro and because Cursey Boo remembered me. Remembered me too. Is this proper English? I wouldn't think this is proper English. He prompted me to remember, so thank you so much. Reminded, that's the word. My God, my English is so bad. I'm apologizing for my English. Right, so yeah, this was the backup. Essentially, you can see this thing is huge, it is loud, it is bulky, and I don't like it around because you can't do anything else. You need headphones to do anything on your computer, and you also don't want to do anything on your computer while this is backing up, just so that you don't disturb the backup process in any way. And also have to keep the door closed. So if this thing keeps running, my backup, in case you're wondering how long this takes, the more smaller files you have, the longer it takes, because it needs to write to the index thing and then it has to go back and forth. So the LTO is the fastest. The more files you can have. I mean, if you have one huge contiguous file, as I usually have with my video files, it can go up to, it writes like 150 megabytes per second, which is beautiful. It's tremendous. It's beautiful. But if you have something like my media wiki or smaller files like the library of Unity game, and then I forget to delete all these little meta files and so on when I don't need them, then it writes a bunch of files just in burst mode and then has to rewind the tape and write some more files and so on. So yeah, my 2020 archive was like I think 300,000 files and it took me 8 hours or so. But this is not as bad as I had before with more smaller files, where there were a couple of years involved, and yeah, the more we go back in time, the smaller the files are, of course, and the higher in number. And I had backup runs that ran like 14 to 16 hours per one tape. So yeah, it just takes long. And Joy Pring says, I'm off for now. Thanks so much. Yeah, thank you so much for staying so long. I thought you had something better to do much longer ago. It's really appreciated. And also thank you so much for subscribing, and see you on next Wednesday. And Lady Miss Leaf says, your English is fine. It was just a momentary lapse in memory. Finally, I could use this thing. Beautiful. And Commander Stitch says, I missed the stream, and it's no worries. This one will go up on the good old Ubes tubes, as the cool kids say. Nobody says this. But it will go up on YouTube anyway. So I think I still got 2 little videos on the backup process. The one thing is now that I did the backup, and yeah, I used this opportunity also to do some changes to my hard drive configuration, because as I've said before, at a certain point, I think I will mention it again, because I mean, I keep repeating myself so many times, so you probably are used to it. My God, I'm like an old timer in a retirement home. Have I told you the story in 1800, or was it 1900? Yeah, the story is that whenever one of my drives is getting too full, usually the working drives, I don't care about the backup drives. If they're getting too full, I just stick another in and don't keep adding, because yeah, old backups usually don't
I mean, concluded already backup years don't keep growing bigger, but projects and certainly stuff like this do. So when a drive is getting close to being full, I just get the next biggest drive that is out there. And usually, like I said, it takes me like 2 years or so to fill an entire drive. Then I just replace the drive, copy everything that is on the old drive onto the new drive. So I have everything in all the same folders that I'm used to, same drive name and so on, same icon and so on. And I just replace the old drive. And yeah, and sometimes right now I've been exchanging an old disk-based, platter-based drive with an SSD, and this is my little drive plan in case you're wondering. But first, something in the chat. Everything is okay, Commander Stitch, just passing bug. Oh my god, I got the COVID thing and it's been a time. Oh no, you got the COVID thing. Oh no, I'm so sorry. My God, I wish you well, and I hope it's just a minor case. And even if it's not, I really hope that it will blow away. I'm squeezing my thumbs for you, as we say here, as a means of get well soon. Yeah, wishing you best of luck and getting through it quickly, Lady Mr. Leaf says, and I just say, just trying to make sure all people don't die in my life. Yeah, just isolate and just kill the virus on your own, and show the little fucker who's boss. Can I say this on Twitch? Can I say boss on Twitch? Okay, so the fucker there said I can say boss, so this is good. Drink up, unicorns. Yeah, exactly. Right, so this is my incredibly sophisticated drive plan. I hope you can follow it because it's so incredibly sophisticated. And by emphasizing the sophistication, you probably can guess that it's anything but. When getting new drives, I always have a plan. And in this case, this is the plan for my 2 new HDDs and 1 SSD. This, for example, this one SSD replaces this one, which replaces this one. This is an old HDD, not an SSD, and this one goes straight into the bin. And same thing here. The new ones just replace the older ones of the lower capacity, and those become, obsolete. So yeah, you can see I'm just replacing disks. Everyone gets the next bigger, because I always print also, as I've shown in the past video before, also print the commission date of a drive so that I know, oh my god, this drive is close to 5 years and has been constantly spinning. Maybe this, I need to have an eye on this. Maybe this probably will crash sooner or later. So I've hardly had any drives crash on me during operation. Most of the times I dropped them, or somebody else dropped them, or some other horrible things kept happening to them, but not while they were spinning. But I think I had this twice, that during operation a drive would just crash. And this is why I always thought, I really want to make sure how old the drive is. So smart that you have a plan. I'm always lazier and suffer more data loss when failure happens. Oh, did you mention smart? Because smart, I think, is it called smart? Yes, this drive health thingy. I have to Google it now. HDD smart check. Is it called the smart check? Oh yes, the smart check. SMART. Probably an incredibly tried self-monitoring, analysis and reporting technology. So my god, this almost works in terms of a compound abbreviation. Is it called a compound abbreviation? Probably not. So I thought you were going there for the pun, the obvious one. So it never hurts to be punny. Beautiful. Love this thing. Right. About the discs, this is another thing that I like to do. You probably have noticed I like to keep things nice, tidy and organized. And our Lady Miss Liv says, I don't have much of a backup plan. I back things up every once in a while when it hits me that I'd be annoyed if I'd lost what I worked on. Like you said before in the chat, you just
copy everything on a thumbstick and then send it to your mom via mail. And I did this with my hard drives. My mom lives 300 kilometers away, and she said, I kept getting those weird metal things, and I just put them into the basement to all the other childhood junk that you have, and it's very moist and moldy down there, so I don't think that my drives that I sent to her are in good condition, but never fear, I still got backups of those. But yeah, I think my biggest Achilles heel is just the amount of data that I have with all those video files, because like you said, if it's mostly just programming code and game assets, you can back up everything pretty much on something like this, on a solid state drive. This is what I would suggest. One of these nice little SanDisk things. This is a 2 terabyte drive. It's amazing, and you can drop those, nothing happens. It's pretty sturdy, and I think this is, if you get 2 of those, and whenever you think about it, just copy everything over and use some kind of cloud storage. I think this is what I think this is the easiest way to do backups if you don't have a lot of files or huge files. Sharks Interactive says, I have personal files which are unprotected per se, but most of my big things that I've poured my life into, aka games, are on version control. Yeah, version control I think is even the best, because then you can clearly have this trail of breadcrumbs that you could go back onto and think, half a year this physics thing was still working and I haven't really tested it once. What the hell did happen? Most of the time it's Unity changed something, or some calls, or maybe you're using a third-party middleware that changed or got updated, or now everything is obsolete and so on. But sometimes it's just that in your code that you thought, okay, I'm never going to touch this, and then you realize, you just deleted, when you were cleaning up white space, you deleted one curly bracket, and then everything broke. Happened to me at least once. Lady Miss Liv says, actually I haven't sent her anything yet. I plan to once I get something worthwhile, but I know she will take good care of it. She works from home and has a much better backup habit than mine. Usually this is the thing that I've noticed with my parents and so on. I really hate it when parents are right? Do you know this? When you're a teen and your mom says, I wouldn't go out without a scarf, and you say, yeah, whatever, mom. And then you catch a cold, and then she was right all along. And the same thing happens with organizing stuff. I mean, I'm at a point where I can really respect how well organized my mom's kitchen is, for example. I mean, it looks a bit cluttery, but everything has its place, and it has been. I mean, her kitchen is my hard drive system essentially. So maybe it's in the genes, maybe it runs in the family, but we're very organized. But it doesn't quite look like it. I mean, my home office looks like a mess now because I keep just piling everything onto shelves now. And Fernofy says, I just read, following you on Twitter, if your dentist asks you if you're using floss regularly, ask him when he did his last data backup. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. This is always a good backup when someone is being snarky towards you. Like, did you floss your teeth? Well, did you always back up your data? Well, I bid you good day. My biggest failure, says Sharks Interactive, on that line is spending a month debugging a program where the first letter of main was lowercase, and that was my problem. Of course, the typo meant it wouldn't compile, so I didn't get error reporting. I had something like this in my, what was it? The Ludum Dare 44, I think. The thanks for nothing, where I changed the name of the script of the C# file, but not of the procedure name in there. And it worked in the editor, but it wouldn't compile, and it was a huge hassle. And my God, yeah, always check your capitalization and file names, and that they always match up. I mean, programming really teaches you to be structured. Talking about things that are structured, this brings me to my beautiful label maker. And I want to share with you also this video on labeling my discs. I think that's it. So I switch over to full screen and turn off the mic. And I'm sorry for forgetting that the mic is muted. Then I also got this beautiful label maker here. This is probably one of my best purchases, despite its simplicity. Yeah, you get here a monochrome LCD, just showing you what you've put in, and this utter non-QWERTY standard keyboard, which baffles me every time I want to print something. But the cool thing about it is, yeah, you can print on this kind of adhesive labels there, and it looks everything very neat and tidy, and it doesn't vary like your handwriting on your daily condition. So yeah, this is pretty cool. And yeah, let's cut this up and stick it to my new SSD drives. And this one I need to relabel because it's not terbium anymore, it's now aluminum 5. So satisfying. And this is when I'm done. You can see here everything is nicely labeled, so that no matter from which angle I see this drive in its bay, I can always make out which drive is which, because the more drives you have, this becomes an issue. So everything is screwed in again. So with all the drives finally back in the bay, I can put the cover on. But my God, really, this shouldn't look like this. But yeah, I didn't design this thing, obviously. Yeah, you've probably noticed my naming scheme for hard drives. It's elements. It's chemical elements. Let me show you here. So apart from the system, which is C for carbon, then of course I got. I say of course because for me it's quite straightforward. But why is aluminium doesn't have an icon? Oh, I deleted. Let's amend this. So pretty much everything is named after a certain element, because at first I wasn't just replacing disks with the next bigger capacity of the same disk. So essentially this is why we have here potassium 6, because it's the 6th time that I replaced the disk with the next bigger one. Am I on mute? No, I'm not on mute, thank God. But before that, I just, whenever I bought a new drive, it got a new name because, of course, it was a new drive and I put new stuff on it. So when I first started doing this, I used planet names of the solar system. And then I ran out of planets, and I thought, can't run out of something when you have just enough of it. And then I named everything after Street Fighter 2 characters. And wouldn't you guess it, I ran out of Street Fighter 2 characters. And then I thought, should I name it after Pokemon? But the thing was, I wasn't too much into Pokemon, because this is really funny. In terms of Pokemon, another side story. When Pokemon first was big in the late 90s or early 2000s, I think it was, and everyone was using Pokemon. This sounds like drugs. You know, maybe it's not too far off. Anyway. And this was when I was a teen, and I thought, I'm cooler than that. Pokemon is so kindergarten. It's so kindergarten, right? And I thought I was a bit cooler than Pokemon. So this is why I never really got into Pokemon at the time. I've played some of the Pokemon games lately, but yeah. So this is why Pokemon wasn't an option for me. And then I realized, maybe I could use the noble gases for external drives, and the certain I don't really quite remember the scheme that I had, but I had a very certain scheme. And of course then I also used the numbers of the periodic table, which was always confusing me. So this is now this semi-scientific way of labeling things. So I've been having scandium and terbium and potassium for years now, and to me aluminium and scandium, with scandium I always know, yeah, it's my videos. With potassium I always know it's my photos. With terbium I always know it's my game recordings that I'm currently doing, and right now I'm not recording any games at this point. And yeah, you can see my icons there. Whenever I click something, everything has a nice little icon, because I like to make things look nice and to mod my windows. Dear aluminium doesn't have
this is funny. Some people say aluminum, but there's clearly an I, so it's aluminium to me. So let's just edit the auto run inf, and it's aluminium 5. Aluminium 5, and that's 2 terabytes. Save, and with the next start it should. Disk is unavailable. How is this? Why? What the hell is going on here? Why did I delete everything here? Christ. What is going on here? Do you see this? Is someone deleting my things here? Christ. This is not good. Capture is unavailable. My God, something is happening and it's not good. Christ. I have no idea what is going on. I have no idea what is going on here. BitLocker status off. My God, there should be much more on this drive, and now it's empty. Okay, my only crap. I'm having a mild panic attack here. My only guess is that it might be this very wiggly SATA connector, and it just come loose now. But of course, shit happens on the stream, says Sharks Interactive. Yeah. At least, I mean, there's nothing important on aluminium right now because I've copied over to Terbium, but Christ, there should be. Yeah, maybe I will do a restart later on and maybe things will come back. But my God, let me just quickly check here in the disk management if it still shows up there. My God, this is bad. Aluminium. I mean, it says healthy. Delete volume. No, I don't want to delete the volume properties. Disk cleanup capacity. Yeah, I will look into this as soon as the stream is over. But yeah, this is the reason why there is no icon showing. So I would like to say crisis averted, but apparently it's not. It's not. At least, like I said, I did a full backup of everything, so nothing weird should be gone. Wishing you best of luck with it. Thank you so much. It has used space, right? So at least Windows has cached something. But I've never seen this, that suddenly things just went away. It feels like someone else is doing a stream and hacking me right now. And laughing their asses off. Yeah. Anyway. Yes, good luck. Thank you so much. Anyway, I still have one video left about the archive disk. Once it's done, like as I've said, I'm archiving everything on the tower there, take out the disk, put it in there, then put everything to tape and take it out and bring it back into the tower. And this is the very last step. And yeah, let me show you the very last step.
Now that I'm done, I can take out the hard drive, this one here, and get it back into my tower, into my hard disk tower that is not part of my desktop. Good, and now for that drive, that's now the Archive 2020 that goes into my hard drive tower, so I need to prepare it as such. Yeah, in essence this means just putting on this little handle so I can just screw it on like so, and we should be good. Yep, that went quick. So now I can stick it back into the tower and we should be good to go. It's just a little dusty, Good, switch this thing on, switch that on, and we're good to go.
Yes, and that summarizes very quickly in 2.5 hours my backup system and procedure and workflow. And Sharks Interactive says, and you have to promise to give us an update on aluminium on your Twitter later today. And thank you so much for caring and your interest. In that case, of course, I will also thank you, Lady Miss Leaf, who also agrees. It's just a little dusty. Yeah, I should maybe have cleaned this entire thing before shooting the video, but I thought, yeah, I mean, it wouldn't be authentic if everything was clean. So yeah, I've never had really dust problems because once or twice a year I just get paranoid and then go with the vacuum cleaner over all my fans and the little aerosol cans, and so the spray air, the compressed air. But yeah, so far I think I've only had it once that a chip was overheating because I didn't properly, I mean I did, but I didn't properly clean the fan out. But it was one of those boxed fans, so yeah, it was ages ago. So right, let's have a look back at what did I wanted to do today. Right, we had the data retention workflow, which is done today, so which brings us to the 8-bit shanty, if you're interested. Just a very quick, well, it's not heads up, a very quick news flash. 2021 is the year of the shanty, at least if you're following Twitter a bit, or TikTok especially, where there was this one guy who sang a sea shanty and it was very well sung, and then on Twitch, on TikTok you can do duets where you just sing along with another one, and you can cascade this, you can stack it on, and now it's this big choir of bearded men singing sea shanties, or at least the Wellerman one, and it's quite nice because it's very well sung and very nicely done. And I thought, my god, this sounds cute. I want to make a 8-bit chip music out of this. I will try to make it, and I did, essentially. Fanofy says, you motivated me to make up some backup workflow for myself sometime. Yeah, data loss is, I think, the biggest motivator in setting up a backup workflow. Because it's, you always think, yeah, it's not that important. Everything's still working. It's cool. I mean, who needs a backup? And then you lose everything and you think, you know what? Yesterday I would have had the time and almost started making my backup workflow. So, yeah, I mean, since it's COVID time, and many people are at home more than so, maybe you find some time doing a backup workflow, even if it's just for you, even if you just spend 10 minutes copying the most important projects onto a thumb drive. Everything it really helps. I mean, working out a workflow is something more time consuming, but since I would assume many of you watching are in some way related with the game development and programming, I would assume we're all very structured people, so making or envisioning a workflow that works for you wouldn't be too much of a punishment. It's a nice little mind puzzle and exercise. Soon may the datamen come and bring us drives and space and redundancy, says Zahab AQ. And yeah, we're already in the 8-bit shanty town. Let me just find it there on my incredibly and unusually tidy Dropbox folders there. Of course, it's not in the Dropbox because it's a video, and a video means it's on Scandium, I think, video. The Wellerman chiptune, there we go. Render. So, yeah, you might have heard the one, yeah, I just played, and then we're all on the same page in case you don't know it.
That put to sea, the name of the ship was a Billy of Tea. The winds blew up her bow, up down or below, my Billy boys blow. Soon may the Wellerman come to bring us sugar and tea and rum. One day when the tonguing is done, we'll take our leave and go. She had not been 2 weeks from shore when down on her a right whale bore. The captain called all hands and swore he'd take that whale in tow. Soon may the Wellerman come to bring us sugar and tea and rum. One day when the tonguing is done, we'll take our leave and go. Before the boat had hit the water, the whale's tail came up and caught her. Hand to the side, harpooned and fought her when she dived down low. Soon may the Wellerman come to bring us sugar and tea and rum. One day when the tonguing is done, we'll take our leave and go.
There we go. Forgot to switch to the screen because there's always something that I forget. And Lady Miss Liv just laughs at structured. Oh dear. Yeah, at a certain point you start to
be more structured, and it doesn't feel like it, but then you are, and then it's okay. But I know what you mean. And Zap says, this is amazing. Oh, thank you so much. And Fernerface says, you're doing TikTok? Actually, no, I'm doing Plick Plock, if you watch closely. Yeah, as I'm such an old person that all the things that are good on TikTok I see on my Twitter feed, eh? So this is how I've learned from it, or learned from where this comes. And yeah, as you've seen, it was just a little fun bit that I thought I might give a try myself, and yeah, just posted it as a reply to the TikTok video on Twitch. And so far, I think I've got 8,000 plays on this thing. It's just incredible. It's just I've never thought. I just thought, yeah, some people will like it and said, that's nice. But apparently, it's been going rounds, and I'm very grateful for that. And I just want to show you how it looks there in my Fami Tracker software. This one here. Phil is launching his own platform. Can I be a moderator? Yes, you can. And I'm sorry for all the Nazis, because apparently this is the internet now. Wellerman, there we go. So yeah, again, this is the Wellerman, but I did this in one night, and now we're back at structure, because since this is a tool that's, I mean, if you're familiar with trackers, essentially it's like that. For those who aren't, essentially this is what's it starts at the top and then goes down, and this is every 16 lines is just one bar. Essentially, it's the timeline, and then you got for each column, you got your different instruments. And since this is the NES, I got 4 instruments, 2 pulse waves, 1 triangle, and 1 noise channel. And at first, I don't need the triangle channel, which usually I use for bass. And yeah, this is how it looks there. And when I played it, I thought, yeah, it was lacking something. And then I thought, I mean, it's 6 in the morning, and I should go to sleep, but maybe I can simulate some noise, some seagulls, and some ocean. And this took me way too long, but I'm very happy with how it turned out. That it really makes sense. A little bit of echo, because it's just one voice playing. And I thought, I really like this bit, but it doesn't sound too chiptune. It's like just some 3 oscillators. So I thought, yeah, maybe at the end I should crank it up and go full chiptune, and even have some NES square style percussion. Why I like working with the Fami Tracker is, I mean, I could also do this in a DAW of choice and use just 8-bit instruments or 8-bit sound fonts or anything. But I mean, it's more work doing this in the Fami Tracker, but there are 2 things that I like about it. The one thing is that it's 100% authentic. This could actually run on actual NES. And the other thing is that it's even better, is that you can export it as an NSF file. And I got this cartridge NES cartridge where I can stick in a flash card, and I can actually play this on an actual NES. And this still blows my mind to hear my music on the NES play. And this is the Wellerman chiptune, where I'm quite happy with how it turned out, and I haven't done chip music in quite a while, so I thought it would be nice to try and do this. And yeah, apparently, 2021 is the year of the sea shanty, because it's just the 3rd week of 2021, and we don't know what other crap that is still out there to get us. Beautiful, which brings us to the feel-good time. Yeah, I've probably should have worked on this segue a bit more. So, the chat even says beautiful, and Zahab even claps. My God, thank you so much. This is very nice. So yeah, what is the feel good time? I thought because this whole Corona thing is a bit getting to me, because it's just drawn out so long. I thought, yeah, maybe I try to
to be a bit more uplifting and so on, and share little things that help me to cope with the entire situation and so on. Because, the current state of affairs here in Austria is, Lady Miss Liv says, be right back, and yes, see you in a bit. Meanwhile, I talk about the current state of affairs here is in Austria, where I'm located. So, maybe I can show you some graphs that you can see how our situation is here. Let me bring up here the website of the local broadcaster and then even switch over, because I've learned my lesson. And of course, Corona. And those are the current data about the coronavirus. So currently, each day, Austria is a country of around, I think we are at 8 million inhabitants, population of the entire country. And each day we get 1,300, 1,500 new cases. And let me show you, this is the curve we're at right now. So each day we're still getting around 1,000, 2,000 new cases, and we've been on lockdown essentially since 1st of November. And this has been, lockdown. There was still some openings in terms of, that, my God, we can't do pure commercial centers not starve without customers. So some are opened, but the grocery stores close up sooner, and so on and so forth. So in essence, it's been a clusterfuck since since the start of November, because Austria being Austria, which means when there are certain how do you call it, this thing that you should follow, I think law is the name, when there are certain laws or guidelines, there weirdly politics are very prone to lobbying, I feel. And the biggest lobby in Austria is tourism. Tourism and the economy, of course. And tourism means, and also, of course, you can't forbid people to meet their family during Christmas. So it was allowed that you could meet someone during Christmas. Usually before that, it was only allowed that you get one person you could meet regularly that is not part of your household, but that's just it. Just one person from another household. Unless it's Christmas, then it's okay for 10 different households to meet, which explains the other spike right after Christmas. And then, of course, it was hard lockdown, right? Hard lockdown. But skiing is okay. Skiing is okay. We're Austrians. We love to ski. And of course, we got those cable cars and also the ski lifts and so on. So, of course, most of the people were going skiing and getting infected there. The other thing is we still to this day don't have a mandatory home office or working from home guideline. It's just strongly encouraged, but not. I mean, in the end, it's just up to the bosses or whoever is running the business whether they allow their employees to work from home or not. It's not mandatory. Next thing is schools. They really wanted to open up the schools this week, but now then we got the semester break, and then the schools will open up, which is, to me, I mean, I'm not an expert, so I don't know if it's good or bad, but I would assume that if kids from different families get together for each day for many hours and one of them got the sniffles, I mean, we all know everyone got the sniffles 1 week later. So probably not the best thing. And the other thing is, of course, in the meantime, there have been lots of demonstrations against the corona measures. And as always, if someone is demonstrating against common sense, the Nazis and other fringe groups are marching alongside with them. And interestingly, police hasn't done anything about it apart from just monitoring the situation and reminding people to wear the masks and to keep distance from each other, because nobody does there. And they didn't want to get involved because it would get messy or anything. There was a counter demonstration, I've heard, of the corona measures, of people are in favor of the corona measures, and those were just not that many, and also Antifa and so on. And of course, police apparently, just rumors that I've heard, handcuffed them because there were not as many people as the corona deniers, so they were easier to handle.
like I said, I'm not reporting on the news or anything. This is just I heard through Twitter, and chances are that things are exaggerated. But yeah, my point being is that this entire lockdown situation, you just constantly feel that people who aren't taking things as important or as serious as they actually are, keep constantly creeping into the bed everyone else tries to sleep in. It's just mind-numbing, and it's just so frustrating seeing so many people just thinking, I can't take it anymore. I will, no matter what, I will meet my friends and have a party. And those events also have been popping up where there were just some illegal parties where people were just getting together, trying to have a good time, and then of course getting infected or infecting themselves. So essentially, we're under lockdown, and things haven't died down as quickly as they did with the first lockdown that we had earlier this year. So this is the current situation. So, and this is the reason why things are getting to me, and I thought I share with you some of my things that I do to cope with this, because I'm stuck at home most of the time, and you know me, I'm a big coffee house inhabitant. I live there at Starbucks. I haven't been at Starbucks for 3-4 months now. So all the coffee I have is, first I got the beans from Starbucks, and then I'm at home, which brings me to my first point, and this is, well, not that not belching apparently, but my first point is, if you're stuck at home and you want to try to stay at home, of course, I mean, this goes without saying, but I say it anyway, make it as comfortable as possible to yourself. As for me, I like to go out to the cafe to read a lot, and so I tried whenever I can to make things for myself here as much as coffee house like as possible, where I just allow myself to just kick back and not be as productive as I would usually be, and really just enjoy the moment of a good coffee and something nice to read. And this you really, if you listen to yourself, you really realize what soothes the soul, so to speak. And this would be my first tip, is try to really recreate, or even if you don't have a spot where you feel this is not working, this not for work, this spot is just for cuddling with a cup of tea and a good book, or watching Netflix or whatever, make that space for yourself in your own home. You can redecorate, you can just move a comfy chair just a couple of feet away, and now this is your new spot. Put a candle there and make it comfy. And of course, this is also something that gets me to my next point. We all have those I mean, after those many years I've mentioned, well, of course, it's those many years of Corona that we are having, at least it feels like years. And when you're social distancing and not meeting friends in person and so on, you really have this routine that you have that where you feels that you get cabin fever, or as we say in German, there is this proverb that the ceiling is hitting your head. And so my advice is to somehow break up your daily routine. You probably have some kind of Corona routine right now. It's like, for me, it's like waking up, checking the news, getting frustrated, having coffee, and then going to work and coming back, and then nothing else, essentially. So even to some people at work that I've talked to, they go for a walk, but even to those, their daily walk is already some sort of a grind they can't endure anymore, especially when the weather is bad. So if you find some way to break up your daily routine with a project, or just, it doesn't really have to be a project, since I'm coming more from the creative side, I always say, find a project for yourself, which brings me to my next point in a minute. But just something, maybe, like I said, maybe redecorate a little bit, make things nicer for yourself, or pick up a new hobby, or just read a book with a topic that you usually wouldn't read. Maybe it's interesting, and if not, then now you know why you wouldn't read it. Or pick up one of your games of your pile of shame. It's, like I said, it's just something to break a little bit the daily routine. So there's a lot going on in the chat, so I will address what's going on there. So Zahab says, damn, hope everything gets better there soon. So do I. So all I can do is just carry on and stay away from people. Tracks Interactive says, where did you get this shirt? Oh, right, I should make a new shirt. And Lady Misleaf says he sells this on his Redbubble shop. Yeah, I do, and this one was last year after the first wave, and I thought, no, I think I even made this for the first Ludum Dare that happened during the first lockdown and so on. So this was very tongue-in-cheek, so funny, it will all be over in a year, and here we are. So I just hope I don't have to make a Lockdown 2023 shirt. This is my biggest hope. And yes, I'm selling those on my Redbubble store. And yeah, why not promote myself? Sure as hell would need it. I always feel so bad about self-promotion. This is whenever I post something on Twitter. So, hey, got something on Redbubble. Please check it out. I always feel bad. And it's something that really doesn't get a lot of likes or clicks. Which is, I mean, this is what artists struggle with on Twitter is, my God, you work 4 years on something amazing, or this is your game and you spend so much time on it, or this is a painting that you spent 40 hours on in the past week and you get 3 likes and maybe one comment, and then something is, look, how cute is my cat, and it gets thousands of likes. So yeah, I mean, that's life. And Zahab says, as an introvert, I still really miss human interactions. Lockdowns suck, but hopefully they're one step closing to getting this under control. Yeah, I'm also an introvert and pretty much of a homebody, and even to me, it's just too long. It's really, I mean, I'm very happy that I mean, this is weird, but I'm happy that I can go to work. I work night shift, so there are not many people around, and everyone's wearing masks and at the distance of each other, which is really good because not every workplace is that well behaved, I've heard. And it's really good just talking shit with someone that's not about Corona, right? So, yeah, this is another point. Lady Mistleaf says, I used to be frustrated because when I moved here, I didn't have friends for quite a while since I'm myself an introvert. But since going my dog, I'm surprisingly okay through lockdowns. Yeah, this is, I mean, probably pets probably help, I would assume. And if you, I mean, with your dog, you have to walk your dog anyway, so you still get a little bit outside, because I feel I should go more on walks. But this is another thing. This is just about myself is, yeah, I got a completely messed up day-night cycle. Since I work night shift, so my work usually starts at 5 p.m. and I get home at 1, 2, sometimes midnight in the morning. And then yeah, the rest of the night is essentially leisure time. So I go to sleep usually at 6 a.m. before the lockdown. Now everything is just floating, and usually I fall asleep at around 8:30 in the morning, which is not morning anymore. So everything is really messed up for me. So yeah, it's really good if you can get outside and see the sun in person, at least for a couple of minutes if you can, because here it's winter, and in Australia it's the other way around. So it's a beautiful summer probably there, but for me it's like, my God, please, children, take your vitamin D, because I know I have to take my vitamin D, because I don't get any sun. I haven't seen the sun for quite a while now. Sharks Interactive says, I like being home and having more time for stuff, like having less commitments, and didn't really go out that much before with the trend. In this chat, I'm also an introvert. I'm going with the trend of this chat. I'm also an introvert, but I still do miss having 1 or 2 friends over just to do stuff, going out once a year to see a soccer game. Yeah, it's pretty much, it's those small things you realize that even those small things, even if you also as with us, we entertain guests like once or twice a year, but we still like it very much. And we have seen some very good and dear friends for over half a year now. And I mean, yeah, it really gets to you. It really gets to you. So this brings me to the other point. Try to talk to friends or to interact with friends. I mean, sometimes it's easier now with all those social media things, but again, it's also harder because you feel like you don't really can get a hold of somebody, because they're always, you never know whether they are busy or not, and you don't want to push things. But sometimes it can help if you really, maybe I haven't tried this, so but this is just a suggestion, that you really schedule a date essentially with your best friends, where you just talk on Discord, on I don't know, on TeamSpeak even, just watch a movie together online, so that you have this togetherness, this experience, play a game together, something like this. So this is something that I really want to try. But again, my problem is that I work in the evening when most of my friends have their leisure time. So yeah, it's a bit problematic. Well, it's a time for me to head out, says Sharks Interactive. Have a great day, and don't forget to praise the unicorn. Thank you so much for dropping by and spending so much time there. Really appreciate it. Thank you, and have a great week. Right, and the other thing that I meant to say about how to deal with this entire situation is treat yourself. Usually, when I have to make a purchase or anything, I think, yeah, probably don't really need it that much. Probably it's better to save the money. Maybe there is some catastrophe around the corner or anything. So yeah, I'm not too happy with how things are, but I can probably go out with a good toaster that works for another 2 weeks or months or half a year or 2 years or so. And I really realized that it's those little things that you treat yourself to, because in the end, yeah, you might need some money down the line, but in the end, I realized that if you go into this mindset of benefit and cost, I mean, what really benefits is your sanity, your mental health, essentially. If you just treat yourself to something, be it a book or some electronics or an expensive game where you don't wait for it to be on the sale or anything. Really just treat yourself to something and don't feel bad about it, and just enjoy it for what it is, whatever it is. For me, I'm weird. I'm really happy that I have now a 4 terabyte SSD, and this is giving me lots of joy. I know it sounds weird, but yeah, those little things. Usually I would have felt bad about the money, because yeah, maybe if I wait half a year, it's not as expensive, or maybe I don't need 4 gigabytes. No, screw this. I need 4 gigabytes for my game recordings. Life will be much easier for me down the line. And sure, maybe there will be an emergency where I need some money in tomorrow, but maybe there is not. Maybe I don't need it for 2 years from now. Who knows? Right now, I need this to feel happy about something. And just don't make sure that it doesn't, you don't get addicted to something like this, and then it's in the end you just keep buying stuff and go into debt just to feel something. So yeah, it's a slippery slope, but I think sometimes you just, or even if you think, yeah, I can't eat the entire chocolate, maybe it's too much, maybe just one line. Who cares? Go for it. Everyone is gaining weight. I mean, this is Corona. We're this is not normal, right? This is not normal. Things should go back to normal after this entire thing is done. So it's okay if things aren't as normal, or you wouldn't do things as normally as you would otherwise, right? And Sharks Interactive said, I enjoyed the stream and thanks for everyone. Yeah, wishing me a good night. And Lady Miscliff says, I had misplaced my phone and needed someone to call it so I could find it. Happened to me as well. And things are very bad in the evenings when my phone knows that it only is allowed. Essentially, it's just on quiet mode, and only family calls get through. So I had. Sometimes I was this close to asking my wife to call her mom that she calls my phone, because otherwise my phone is on mute, it wouldn't ring or anything. And then I found out I was holding my phone in my hand anyway. So there we go. Right, and the last thing that I want to say in this feel-good time is... that especially with the first lockdown, everyone said, yeah, everyone is spending time at home. And think about it, how much things you can get done when you're just at home. My God, this fourth language you always wanted to learn, go for it. This huge ass project you kept pushing away, yeah, start tackling it. That big American novel you wanted to write in North America, you can write it now because you have the time. And after the lockdown was over, and 2 months later, and people said, what have you done during the lockdown? I learned 4 new languages, but what have you done? I was just worried about every day, the next day thereafter, and I just kept worrying. And yeah, you haven't been really productive. You didn't use the Corona downtime, did you? And yeah, I take issue with that, because it's like it's some people
I would assume that have it much easier to take time off and just start a new project. But what I realized is that I was feeling bad that I didn't tackle a new big project during this time, and especially now here with the second lockdown. I really, it wasn't that from one day to the next I felt completely demotivated to do anything, but I realized that my motivation was not as high as it usually was. It was at like 20% the level, and I thought, will it ever go back? And I tried reading, I tried really taking a week off, which was very good, where I didn't have to force myself to do anything. But I realized, this is not a normal time that we're in. There is so much going on, even if you're not personally affected or don't know anything who's affected. Most of us do. But still, this for our entire society, this is a traumatic experience, also with everything else going on in terms of global politics and so on. So it's completely okay to feel not okay, to really feel down most of the time, to be frustrated, to be angry, to have anxiety. And the last thing you need is someone else saying, you're spending so much time at home, why don't you do something? Are you lazy or what? So really, I urge you not to feel bad about yourself if all you do the last couple of weeks is just vegetate and try to take one day at a time, because like I said, for some people it's easier. I thought for myself I'm a pretty resilient person, at least I think. But because this is so prolonged, things have been getting to me quite a little bit in the past weeks and days. So I urge you to just really don't push yourself too hard. Each day you make it is already a success, and you can reward yourself for it, and you should reward yourself for it, because this is not normal. And you should look after yourself and not push yourself into somebody else's idea of what you should be doing or how much performance you should have. Every day is a victory, and with that I just say thank you so much. And I hope this was a little bit helpful to any of you. There's a lot going on in the chat, so I will try to catch up. Slippery slope for sure. I used food as a treat, and now I've gained the unhealthy amount of weight. Again, this is the biggest problem of this is for one thing, as soon as you start getting hooked on it, you depend on it just to feel normal, then it's some sort of an addiction, right? And the sooner you notice it, the easier it is to get out, because once it started to form a habit of sorts, it's really hard to get out, especially if it's something that's going on for weeks now, or even months, or even years. So if you can just dial back and try something else to treat you with, like I said, shake up your daily routine with something, so that feels new, and that distracts you from eating, essentially. And if you find something, please let me know. Not everyone has motivation though, says Lady Miss Leaf. And exactly, it's like a sponge, right? It needs to fill up, and then you have this project where you can squeeze and everything just drips out. But then if you have the next big project, you can't squeeze it anymore. You really need the time for the sponge to fill up, and just take the time. It's all gonna be good. And Zahab says, no need to feel bad. Everyone is different. In my university, most people do not have a good situation at home and have been suffering a lot. This is another thing. If you can't feel good or well at home and are trapped inside there, I really don't know what I could tell those people. Maybe it's just try to find some sort of safe space, your safe bubble, where you can always retreat to. But my God, this I haven't thought about this. Sorry. We can't really expect everyone to be productive when everyone is going through different things. Absolutely. And for uni students, this I would assume. I would never claim authority or any kind of superiority on this matter on my advice. This is just something that I say, maybe try this because I'm so lucky that I'm living with a person together that again, this entire flat
is a safe space and where I can really relax, because some other people, either they live alone, which is much harder because you feel so much more isolated. I know that I spent just a couple of weeks in my dorm room over the Christmas and New Year, and I was sick also, and I never felt so alone there. And now with Corona, it must be just incredibly hard. And the other thing is, if you're living together with someone or even a family where you really don't have some space where you can retreat to or retire to and just relax and recharge your batteries, I don't know how what to tell those people. It must be really hard. Just try something for you where you feel this feels good and I can keep doing this, and then come back to it. But yeah, it's really hard. Everyone is different too, says Lady Miss Leaf. Everyone reacts to things differently. I'm still just meh about the thought of being at a complete lockdown, which may be soon. Yeah, I think personally I would be much happier if there is a complete lockdown for everyone, because like I said, in Austria you can go skiing and get cramped together at those ski lifts. It's no problem, but museums are closed, bookstores are closed because people could infect each other. So yeah, it's those double standards, those, as we say, wishy-washy kind of politics where certain things apply to other things and everything is just politics essentially and lobbying. And I think a hard lockdown would be if everybody was treated the same. I think, yeah, this is my biggest gripe that I have. We can't have people over as of now, says Lady Mistleaf, but we can still shop with social distancing, and non-essential businesses are still open with restrictions, but that may change next week, but I honestly don't care. So yeah, this is good. If that doesn't get close to you, yeah, this is very good. I think especially introverts or other people that are mostly used to just with game development, you're most of the time in your own head. I've noticed to see that those people cope much better with these kind of lockdown situations. But then there are, of course, those outgoing party person people who are hit really badly by this entire situation. So it always depends on what temperament, what kind of character you are. But in the end, even like I said to myself, even now I'm noticing it really wears on me. It really wears on me, and you should take action for your mental health and your own well-being when you notice that certain things aren't feeling as right, and not just keeping to pushing them aside and then just see the outcome when it's much harder to get certain bad habits, for example, away. I will admit it, says Lady Miss Leaf, after the last big lockdown, I miss going to the bookstore. Yeah, then I went to the bookstore many times since and probably spent too much money. Yeah, here the bookstores are closed, and me and my wife, we used to travel to this one bookstore that is like 150 kilometers away. It's 5 stories, and there's a cafe on top, and it's got pretty much everything there, and we really miss it. It's been a year since we last took our road trip to just go book shopping, and yeah, but at least it gives us something to look forward to. So yeah, I've been streaming for quite a while now, so I think I will try to bring this to an end. So again, I really appreciate that you spent all this time with me just talking about data and hard disks and tapes, and we listened to some 8-bit shanties, and now me trying to relay at least some thoughts that I've had of how to take care of yourself during this strange and again, I say it again, abnormal times, because this won't be the new normal. I mean, it is right now, but together we will pull through, and together I mean everyone individually, because it's safer that way. Oh my god, that bookstore sounds like heaven. Yeah, it is. It is, and it even got a crafting, one story that's just devoted to crafting materials and so on. It's bliss. And Zahab says, same, I can't stand half-baked implementations. Our government closed schools, but apart from that, everything is open. Like, I live in a city here, Lahore. Is it Lahore? Did I say this correctly? Probably not. I'm sorry, which has more population than the whole of Austria. It is a very dense urban situation, so no point in closing schools if everything else is open. It's a wonder how they're not doing that bad. Interestingly, in Austria, the biggest city that we have is Vienna, which has more I think 1.5-2 million people, and there the rate of the spread is the lowest in entire Austria, because for some reason it works. And the more you get on the countryside, the Salzburg, the federal state that I'm in, has the highest rate in all of Austria, and nobody really knows why. Probably it's because, well, there are many skiing slopes that we have here. Then of course it's the more you get on the countryside, the less people tend to listen to what's the big state, the politicians in the big city say, because it doesn't apply to them or something like that. So it's also, I would say a social thing. So yeah, it's in the end, it's you gotta do what you gotta do and just tackle each day one at a time, and try not to read too much news, because this is something where I just spend hours just scrolling Twitter, and it has this beautiful name of a doom scrolling. And then this is a bonus tip: follow accounts with cute kittens or just other cute animals that aren't political, aren't topical, aren't news, aren't anything related to your circumstances. Just watch a fluffy kitten try their first steps, and it's like a breath of fresh air. And the Pink Panther, wonderful, thank you so much for subscribing. Hey Pixel, fan of the YouTube for a long time, just wanted to give back a little for the great content while passing through. My god, thank you so much. I'm closing this stream down for today anyway, but oh my god, this is really appreciated. Thank you so much for enjoying my videos and leaving a subscription here. It's, my god, thank you. And Zahab says, no, I was about to say, you pronounce things very well. You even pronounce my name correct. Even my own countrymates don't sometimes. Oh, I guess I'm just lucky. So don't get used to me pronouncing things correctly, because as soon as I feel cocky about this, I will start butchering names again, as I probably have so many times. All right, so need to find on my Stream Deck the right button that I can push. Again, thank you so much for dropping by. I always have a hard time knowing how to end this stream, because then I get sidetracked and talk for another half an hour. So I really try to keep this short. Maybe I should have some kind of music or a transition that slowly creeps in, that I can't keep talking any longer. So all I can say is thank you so much for hanging out with me. This is my social interaction that I have with the world. Really appreciate it. Thank you so much for your interest. And yeah, I hope you have a great week. Stay safe, stay healthy. And if you aren't healthy, get well soon. And yeah, see you next week. And until then, cheers.